damn fool.
Hello and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name is Connor.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Omar.
I'm Emma.
And yeah, we're all back. We're joined by Emma again. Hello, Emma.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. I mean, I'm more of a guest than you at this point, so. But you know,
we
we're.
missed you for a few episodes, Connor.
Yeah, it's just been so busy, and those times we were recording just didn't work for me. But we found a new time, so I should be on the show again, which is good. Carl's still floating in the abyss somewhere, but he is in the group chat, so.
Yeah, we'll get him sometime.
He's welcome to come.
Just gotta get him excited again. Yeah.
And thanks to our patrons Derek, Ray, and Anonymous. Thank you very much for helping us keep the lights on. We have new content to talk about for once in the form
I know,
of Timeless.
very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think this was the one that caused me to get to the group and say, read this now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll say we're four very diverse Iron Fist fans. You know, we have a woman from Milton Keynes, which is like, you know, at the edge of the earth.
Middle of nowhere.
Edge of the earth.
And,
It's famous for being laughed about, let's put it this way.
Emma from the States, Omar from the Philippines, and me from Australia. We're a diverse group of Iron Fist fans. We like Iron Fist for all these different reasons, and we all agree that we want Danny Rand to be Iron Fist and get
But
this...
can I just say though, like, why am I not just from the UK?
Well, I don't know.
I understand that Milton Keynes is uniquely amusing, but I just wanted to like flag that. But yes,
Well,
you're right.
I don't know, like, the specific cities that Omar and Emma live in.
I
so,
know, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway,
We'll get the specifics someday.
we all want Swordmaster not to be Iron Fist, and we want Danny to be Iron Fist.
We
so-
love Swordmaster
Yes.
as Swordmaster. I mean, the only comic I've read him in when he was Swordmaster, I liked. I wouldn't say I love the character, I barely know him, but like,
Bizarre decision,
It
Marvel. Stop it. Look, this is the Iron Fist conglomerate is saying stop it. Okay, just stop. Just anyway. We'll talk about Iron Fist's 50th later, and you know, but we're going to be talking about Timeless, which is, from what I understand, before this issue was kind of a Marvel special, which tells you sort of what's coming up in the year. DC and Marvel both do this, except this one doesn't really do that from what I understand. It's more just telling a standalone story that happens to involve Power Man and Iron Fist as the focal sort of characters, which is neat.
So I actually read the previous Timeless from last year. I don't know if the rest of you have read the previous
yeah, I've
ones.
read each of them.
No, I didn't. But
the last
are they any
two.
good?
So,
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Emma.
I was just going to say that it's interesting because the previous ones were about Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
So this one seems like very much its own separate thing, even within a series that's very kind of standalone and feels kind of random.
I mean, I'm fairly sure that's why they got the Timeless name, is because the first one was about Kang, and then Jed McKay did the second one as well. And they both, I mean, like, to be fair, they both are standalone stories that are just supposed to give you these glimpses of what's going to happen in the next year or so. And we do get that in this one. It's maybe not signposted quite as underlined, but we get the sort of panels of what to expect in the next year.
So would you say the Timeless one-shots are a preview of what should not happen at the end as well?
I don't
Something
know.
that they're trying to prevent?
It's hard to say.
It depends. Now they're both trying to tell a little story. I think it's because the year before they started the Timeless, they did one that was very much just an advert, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this is a bit like a bit rubbish." They're like, "Oh, we'll try and tell a little story as well that fits it in," and they're all a little bit shoehorned to telling a little story that involves either the future.
Yeah, it's so out of context, so that's hard to say.
It's out of context, and the idea is, I guess, to get people excited about these little panels. And this year, I have to say, all those little panels just made me groan. I think there was only one that I was like, oh, that one looks interesting. So, but that's because I have very specific tastes. And if you show me Iron Man and Captain America having a fight, I will sigh and go, I'm not that interested in this. So,
not again.
I should also, before we go into this, say this is not a writing team that I am particularly fond of. So I'm a little bit biased.
Okay. Back to Omar's comment about a future to avoid. I think this is a pretty good future because all the superheroes are dead and the world is saved. Because when it comes to Marvel events, usually it's the heroes causing the problems. So,
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so look, as listeners may know, ever since what happened to Iron Fist and Daredevil in the comics, I have leapt in a single bound, so to speak, and firmly planted my feet in DC when it comes to current comics because my rage is
it's long lasting. It's long lasting. Legendary.
It's the fury of the Iron Fist.
But I still come back for Iron Fist stuff. And it's like, wow. So it's like this. And look, I'm not. Well, I'm reading one. I'm not saying DC. I'm not trying to be company wars, even though I am, and I'm burying Marvel with a shovel right now. But DC has its problems, so don't worry about that. There's a whole mess of things I could talk about over there, which I do on Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. But coming back to Marvel and like I don't think I've read anything by these writers before, but like I feel like this feels like a lot of things I have read from Marvel. Like for whatever reason, there's sort of post-apocalyptic events like feel like. A lot of them feel like they could have been written by the same writer, and we'll go into it. It's like Old Man Logan. It's like kind of like a lot of people just ape Old Man Logan. Where they sort of like, we'll get into it later, but where they like take other heroes' powers or memorabilia and spout their catchphrases in this dark, depressing future as they fight against. And I was like, this story, like I haven't read any non-Iron Fist Marvel that's currently come out for probably 3 years, and it just feels like I've come back and it's the exact same. Like, it's like I haven't missed anything. This is like still what Marvel's doing. But you know what? I did enjoy the issue, so there is that. And I guess we'll get into it. So we have the future of the Marvel Universe revealed, timeless, and we have what looks like Moon Knight with an Iron Man mask and Luke Cage with the Iron Fist on the front cover. And it's a cool cover. And so this whole one shot. If you're an Iron Fist fan, I mean, I guess I'd recommend reading it if you're interested. It's like a sort of a Power Man and Iron Fist story we get. Like it's a cool what if story. Or like a cool Elseworlds, as they say. Like Elseworlds used to just be like one issue that was like 40 pages. So it's a cool sort of alternate future if you're like an avid collector of Iron Fist. If you're like, oh, can I, I'll be stretching my budget to get this comic, then no, it's not worth it. But if you have the means,
Marvel Unlimited,
pick it up. Or it's on Marvel Unlimited. And if you want to follow along properly while we discuss it, I would suggest reading it as well.
We're definitely going to spoil it.
Yes.
Also, to be honest, even doing an episode on it is kind of spoiling it. So
yeah,
they should know by now.
We start with we start with Luke and Daniel and Dinah around the time they first met, I guess, and they decide to sort of work together. And Daddy's talking about how he punched a dragon through the heart, and Luke's like, "Hey, I know you know kung fu, but that doesn't mean you're like a wizard like Gandalf." And there's a little exchange there. And anyway, they're like heroes for life.
Luke clearly thinks a dragon is a Balrog.
Yeah.
But,
And they clasp hands, heroes for life. Not heroes for hire, interestingly, because think we've all kind of talked about how weird that concept is, to be honest.
Yeah.
For Power Man and Iron Fist, like, it just doesn't really work as much. But so we kind of get their beginnings, then we like jump to the far future, and you know
Oh
what?
wait, oh yeah, we're just about to show the creative team, right? Okay.
Yes. So we'll show the creative team. Writers Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly. Artist Juan Cabal. Color artist Edgar Delgado. Letterer VC's Travis Lanham. Cover artist Kale New.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Variant cover artist Alec Ross. Philip Massafera. Does someone want to take that name? That's not
Inya
me.
Plea.
Thank you, because I'll butcher it.
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher it.
Sorry.
Miguel Mercado, Peach Momoko, Ron Lim, and Israel Silva. And it's a cool little opening page. It's like Luke Cage flying.
Yeah, I like the art in this issue a lot. I
I
think
like
this art team is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I think
like
they
his
were
idea.
No, I
really
mean,
up
like,
for-
I would say, like that sort of 99%. There's the odd bit that I'm like, that's a bit weird, and then carry on.
Yeah, I think they were really up for capturing the kind of really weird, kind of cosmic, futuristic visuals of it. I thought they did a really good job at kind of interpreting those.
Yeah, it's true. It reminds me kind of like Secret Wars, sorry. By who's the artist again?
Oh, who was that?
Depends which
The recent
Wars.
Secret Wars, the recent one.
Yeah.
Of course, there's more than one.
Yeah.
You mean the Hickman one?
The Hickman one, yeah. I forgot the name.
Who was the
supposed
writer?
to be famous.
Who was Esad Risa? Esad.
Ribbich. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
I've
kind
met
of like
him.
that.
He's lovely.
Oh,
he's a big
cool.
bear of a man.
Oh, interesting.
Lovely. He's lovely.
So we have.
I was a bit scared of him, and all my friends were like, "No, he's lovely," but he was.
So we have at the end of that exchange between Power Man and Iron Fist at the start, or Danny, I should say, because Danny's not in costume. It says, "This is how it started," and then we go to "This is how it ends," and it says tomorrow, and there's like a giant pyramid in space surrounded by rings, it looks like, of what, I'm not sure. And then we get that front page I talked about, and then we have like, there's a caravan going to this city that looks like it's full of all these sort of Khonshu acolytes.
Yes.
And they're giving these people gifts, and there's like a ritual that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, they're kind of coming down in little bubbles, and they're very, very funny.
Yes. And so, Luke the kid's like, oh, they're going to solve all our problems. He goes to his family. She told me we were special, blah, blah. And then Luke comes up, goes, no, that's all a lie. Be anywhere but here tonight. And he walks into the city. Do we have anything we want to discuss of what's happened so far?
Not really. It's very. I like the color. I like whoever did the coloring. Nice job.
Yeah.
And I like Luke's.
It's just interesting colors you don't see very often in comics. Well, and we say that about Heart of the Dragon. And so seeing some of those pastels again is kind of nice.
Yeah. And I like Luke's look. He was very kind of Jedi.
Yeah.
Look to him.
Just have the Jedi robes.
And I kind of feel like this is just a year after. I mean, this looks like something that's 50 years from now.
Look, Khonshu works hard.
Is this supposed? I don't know. Is this supposed to be a specific time frame? I assumed this was like in the distant future.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Is it the distant one, or is it the? Okay, I thought anything from Timeless is just for a year.
No, Luke's too old for it to be 1 year. I think.
I think it's because it says tomorrow on the second page, but I think it means as in tomorrow, as
not
in
literally.
The
future.
The metaphysical tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, the man of tomorrow kind of reference.
So
Little
I really
wink at Connor there.
I really like the artwork of like the city and the weird sort of like neo-Egyptian thing they have going on.
Yes.
And we got like crazy cultists everywhere, and I always like crazy cultists.
Yes, we love crazy cultists, especially of Khonshu.
And this is implied
Yes.
to have been New York City. As was the impression that I got.
Right.
It used to be towers that felt like home. So
well, it's the same cinema as
Okay.
was next to the diner where Danny and Luke were
Right.
eating.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're like at the exact same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's when we first see Luke walking. I mean, when you get to that page with the acolyte saying, "Rejoice, all those who walk by the light of me." That's the. This is now was showing. I assume that's a cinema, not just a poster, but it could just be a poster. Either way, it's the same one.
Really cool.
Oh, okay.
I think there's some really nice writing here. Like when they're talking about how thin reality is, and Luke can sense something, and you always kind of feel like this when reality's thin. You know, you're sort of in the realm of like space-time. That's sort of shattered, and it's just these really cool descriptions that gives you the sense that it's quite a big deal what's going on. You know, you really are at the end of everything, and anything could happen from this point, which I quite liked, because I've read a lot of these future Marvel scenarios, especially when they were like really pumping them out in like the 90s and the 2000s. So this feels like familiar but welcome sort of territory. But I like it because for once it's focused on characters
on our characters,
we don't usually see.
It's a bunch.
Like the universe never really revolves around these characters, so it's
very
interesting
rarely
to see an alternate future where it does revolve around them. Although
absolutely,
I don't know if this is meant to be an alternate future or the future, but it's clearly, for all intents and purposes, an alternate future.
We'll assume it's an alternate future, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think Marvel can do the future because there are so many.
There's too many.
Yeah, I mean, they keep changing it up too.
Right.
So they do have. There's these things that happen where, like, he gets flashbacks. And I was a bit lost for these. I was like, are these things that have happened in events or have been alluded to, or are these completely random?
So this is exactly what I mean. So like we're in the future, he's looking at the past, so that's our future. So these are all things that are going to happen.
Oh, so these are the actual tie-ins.
Right. So if we took at the top left one, that's the new Moon Knight. That's the new Moon Knight costume. So that's in a comic that just launched.
That's funny because I thought that's so. I guess it implies all these events are sort of leading to this future, but I thought that was like the rise of these Khonshu cultists. I thought that was like a bad.
Which hey, look, it works. I mean that one panel works in that way, but it happens to be the new Moon. I know, just because I know. Obviously, I know that's the new Moon Knight costume that's just come into Vengeance of the Moon Knight, the one that looks a little bit like Spawn.
It's a different kind of weapon, right?
Yeah, it's a different weapon, and it's a black outfit. And it's got the moon, half moon eyes. The top one is Nova and Apocalypse, which is pretty. That's the one.
It's an unusual combination. Yeah.
That's the one that interests me because Nova. Then we have some weird.
Looks like zombies.
That could be the Blood Hunt event that's about to happen.
It's funny because I thought that was a Khonshu thing as well, the one on the right.
Yeah, which is totally fine. I mean, obviously it looks a bit like Iron Man outfit, but it could also be Korvac because it looks blonde to me. But hey,
I assumed like Ultron or something.
Yeah, it could be Ultron. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Then we've got Goblin. Don't know. I'm not reading Spider-Man. Blade and
Blade fighting the Hulk. This is where I was because for whatever reason I didn't really click that this was about current comics, so I thought this was really random. I was like, oh, Blade fighting the Hulk?
It always is a little bit random.
There's a Kryptonian
Fantastic
on the
Four
left.
doing whatever they're doing, and
it's like an ad for the future.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it's done. It's just done with these, we'll give you these little glimpses. And previously they have or haven't spawned a lot of conversation. This year, not so much, because everyone's just like, oh, that's Fantastic Four doing this.
Yeah.
That's reading the Immortal Thor, you know.
I mean, I would rather like a coherent story where there's a little bit of this shoved in than like an issue dedicated to showing you previews for what's happening. later on.
I think that's what they're trying to do, but
Well,
sometimes
that's what
it
I mean.
ends
Like,
up being a little bit. It
like-
ends up being clunky, but this is definitely better than when they just did that. They did a couple of years where it was literally just adverts. It was just
Yeah,
somebody
that's
going,
what I mean.
"Ooh,
Like,
I'm
this
looking
is-
into yeah, no, I agree. At least you get a story around it.
Which again, yeah, this is
Yeah.
not perfect, but and again, like DC do this as well. They do the same thing. They have a book full of ads for what characters are doing. But anyway, we go back to the present / future. The Age of Heroes is over.
Yeah.
Hooray! The people can like not live in fear. But I mean, to be fair, it looks pretty bad now. There's the Age of Khonshu, I guess. Seems like Khonshu's taken over.
Yeah.
There's nothing left to save, just justice to take, which isn't really true, because there's still a planet full of people. But I guess Luke says that he can't stop his plan. Spoiler, he does. But yeah, and this is where I was like,
Khonshu just keeps trying to take over the world. It's one day he'll learn.
So that's a thing, is that Khonshu's a bad guy trying to take over all
He's
the time?
currently in jail in Asgard because of the last time he tried to take over the world.
Well, clearly he breaks out at some point.
I don't think he'd done it
Like the
before
Joker.
that. Well, I don't think he'd
He
ever
keeps
done it
going
before
back.
that. He'd always been kind of a minor Pantheon addition to Marvel.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's ever done that before. But there was this not great Avengers arc about him trying to take over, and that's what launched this new Moon Knight run.
Oh, was that crappy Jason Aaron one?
Yeah. So that launched this Moon Knight run because now he doesn't have Khonshu around, so it's a little bit different. But also it's the reason why Moon Knight is dead, because Khonshu can't resurrect him.
Fun
So-
fact.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact.
Jason Aaron will be on Superman this year, which is very bizarre to me.
It's very bizarre.
He jumped ship, huh?
No, I think he's
Well, I
just
think
not
they just
under a
go where the
specific
money
contract, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some writers
Yeah,
that
I mean-
are working for both companies, so
I think his Marvel exclusive did come to an end.
right.
Yeah, I mean, after a big run on the Avengers, I was thinking he would Lilo do certain Marvel book here and there, but not go to DC.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of them are doing it at the moment, like various exclusives are moving, and they're either going to the other company or a bunch of them are forming these new imprints, which is going to be really interesting because some of those are exclusive as well. And like, I just don't see those having the same pull, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I've also talked to yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just saying the same thing over and over.
I've talked to two people who will remain nameless who've worked for Marvel, and they've both said that they get treated a lot better at DC.
I have
interesting.
heard similarly, depending on the run. Like, I know there.
Yeah, I think it depends on the run. Yeah,
I know there's someone who hated one run they did and said they would never work for Marvel again, and then got offered write whatever you want with no notes, and they had a great time. So I think,
I guess so.
Well, I mean, I think it can depend on how much control they have and how fiddly they are. But I think we all know now that they don't pay as well, and there's if you're writing Batman, DC has a lot more leeway. They'll put in any alternative Batman take to get a run. I think it's a bit different if you're trying to write X-Men or. But I've also heard that people who've had bad times at Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brief shout out to Mike Perkins, who is currently illustrating a limited Batman series.
Oh yeah.
That looks amazing.
It's good.
It's set in the.
I'm not reading it, but I see the images, the artwork that he's doing. He's knocking it out of the park.
I'll probably read it because it's set in 1939. And I love
I think I'm
retro.
gonna trade by it. Yeah, it looks
cool.
really good.
Yeah, because to get me to read Modern Batman, you'd have to strap me to a chair and do the Clockwork Orange thing. But 1939 Batman, well, it's awesome.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So anyway, enough Marvel bashing. Although we're about to do it again because I didn't like this part because Luke's like, oh, I have the powers of the Sentry and the Hulk. And I was like, oh, I hate when they do this.
And the Iron Fist.
Like, the Iron Fist is cool because Luke is tied to Danny. Luke,
right, yeah, that at least is kind of poignant.
You know, I can see a scenario where Luke gets the Iron Fist and, like, Danny training Luke to use martial arts when Luke already has unbreakable skin, and then him getting is, like, a cool idea, which we sort of saw with Victor Alvarez. And, like, I like
how, like, the, you know, also the power levels of these characters are off the charts. Like, but I do like seeing the Iron Fist up against Sentry and the Hulk.
But that's like, what's funny,
Sentry
right?
and the Hulk are like arguably the two most powerful.
When he says, like, I'm the last confessor of the Sentry, bequead the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. It's like, do you need anything else, or is that fine?
I mean, you shouldn't need anything else.
Because I don't think, do they understand how much power is in an exploding sun, let alone 1,000,000?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to nuke heaven. So... But, so there's the powers of Sentry, the Hulk, and the Iron Fist. So at least there's only 3 sets of powers, but it's kind of a weird combination.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
plus unbreakable skin.
Yeah.
And his own powers, but, like, are these 3 things, are they, like, do they have a synergy with each other or anything? Or are they just sort of slapped on him?
Yeah, it feels really random. I can't think of any particular.
It literally just feels like they're powerful. Let's chuck them in. Oh, and Iron Fist because there's a connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Although it is nice when, like, the Iron Fist is ultimately what wins the thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows you how powerful it is.
Yes.
Especially when you put it in a body that's been supercharged like Luke's.
And it should be, because I was on a show, Signal of Doom, and we were talking about an issue of the Incredible Hulk. It was basically just a showcase of the Hulk beating up everyone. And he beat up Iron Fist, and they're like, Iron Fist wouldn't stand a chance. So I'm like, hang on, why wouldn't Iron Fist stand a chance? Because when you think about it, the Iron Fist is described as, like, endless. There's, like, endless power there. So why does it stand no chance against some of these more powerful figures?
Right. Not to mention the fact that it's not all Danny has. Danny is, he
has beaten
top
the
martial artist in the Marvel Universe, so he's got his own ability and training.
Yeah.
Plus, he can punch you unbelievably hard.
I guess,
so,
I was more talking about, like, the energy of the chi of Xiao Lao.
Well, I mean, but he also did beat the Hulk, so it's another of those dependent on.
Oh yeah, I was more like
the writer,
it was more me going at the reaction of Iron Fist being like a low level, where it's like, well, when you think about it, like he's not really. That being said,
he's not, and we've seen. Well, that's what I meant. Like, but when he did beat the Hulk, it's like we've seen him use the chi to like do all sorts of things, not just You add on things like the healing power and the ability to calm crowds. And
that being said, like
the speed.
So I've read all of Iron Fist, well, most of it, because obviously there's little odds and ends, like the current run we're very slowly discussing of John Ostrander's run. But the Iron Fist itself, what do you like? That's just Xiao Lao or Shu Lu, right? So. Unless I'm forgetting and it's not just Shu Lu, but if it is just Shu Lu, then we have to quantify Shu Lu himself. Yeah. And it's like, well, he's not that strong, is he? Like, he's a dragon, but, normal people are able to beat him up. And, like, dragons are strong, but there's, like, a lot of dragons in Marvel. It's like, I feel like it's, like, when we talk about Immortal Iron Fist, it's like, it'll go into it, and how it's, like, endless, and it's actually super powerful, but it's also, like, in the greater cosmology. I don't know, it's a bit of a... I feel like the Iron Fist has grown quite powerful, and maybe, like, more powerful than you think Xiao Lao would be, So, that's something to think about. Any listeners have anything to chime in,
But this is Luke as the master of the living weapons.
Yeah, that's right. the living weapons, which I guess is Sentry, Hulk, and
Yeah, which is, again, really random
Iron
way
Fist.
to refer to
Very
them.
odd. Yeah.
Wouldn't that mean he has the powers of like Fat Cobra and?
Right. That would make a lot more sense.
That
And
would
would be
be so
very
cool.
cool for
It would be
yeah.
so funny. You could have
Oh.
all the little spiders and, you know.
Hey, that would be awesome.
It's just like Khonshu's like, I'm the god of everything, and he just throws spiders at him.
Yeah. Hey. Maybe Khonshu's scared of spiders.
Damn it, that's how it should have ended. That would have been great.
That would be great. Master of the living weapons.
Then we also have living weapon where Chi of Shao-El's enough to like have a like turning into a building. Although he used everyone else's chi, so the chi lets him use other people's chi,
Yeah.
and there's chi
that was,
multipliers going on. And okay, yeah. All right, my head hurts now. Anyway, he goes, "I'm Power Man. I am Power Man," and he flies up.
This is a cool page. I like this page.
Yeah, it is a cool page.
And he's like, he destroys like the funnel that Khonshu set up, which apparently took
the
decades to
sacrifice
build.
machine.
Yeah. So it took decades to build, and the Earth is covered in a thing. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I was just saying, I appreciate the approach they took with his costume here, where it's a reimagining of his original yellow silk shirt and chain into a cape.
Yeah,
it looks very cool.
Yeah, he's got like a cape now. I mean, because I guess he's doing like the sort of, he's doing very like Sentry / Superman poses.
Yeah.
And I like that they went back to calling him Power Man. I always thought that's supposed to be Luke and not somebody else's name.
Yeah.
I mean, I love when Vic took it. I thought that was really neat. That when Vic
I thought
took
that
it,
was neat.
but it was really nice just to see it back with Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, so he hasn't been using it in his current run, I take it, again more. He's just been called Luke
he's
Cage.
now Mayor Luke Cage, because now he's the mayor more, so...
Yeah.
I don't think even in his... and the other one, he's disguised, so he's not giving it a name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that trashed his arm, but he was able to kind of like just heal it with the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And boom, someone comes down. It's the Immortal Moon Knight. So
I really hope we get an Immortal Moon Knight run sometime that is not this character.
Yes.
I want an Al Ewing Immortal Moon Knight at some point, but not this. Yeah.
This is. It looks like Iron Man / Deadpool dressed up in a Moon Knight costume, but it's actually
It really
Danny.
does. Yeah.
And Danny's kind of like, he's kind of like possessed, I think.
Well, he has the eye of Agamotto, or
Yes.
something the related. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's not the first time he's had the Eye of Agamotto.
Look,
that's true.
You have to wonder if they're actually referencing that, right, or if it's just a coincidence.
I think it may just be a coincidence.
I hope they're actually
pretty
referencing
cool
it.
coincidence. Yeah.
I
hope
for me, it was the impression of that Luke has all these powers from various people, and then Danny also has powers from all these other people. That was the kind of feel that I got from it.
The idea that I got is Danny essentially tried to combat Khonshu by allowing him to sort of, like, he gathered up all this power, then kind of allowed Khonshu to, for lack of a better word, possess him.
I mean, we find out what powers he has, kind of, when Luke says, you took over Stark Unlimited. So, he's got, and then you're the one who mastered the eye. So it is the eye of,
which he already had, which I'm going to take as a cool tie-in, even though it probably wasn't meant to be. So,
exactly.
Look, the eye's going to have relevance at some point. He still has it. He's still possessed by Agamotto. It hasn't been resolved.
We're hoping.
And we've been making this joke on the podcast, which is nearly like 8 years old or something. It's ridiculously old, this podcast.
I mean, it's literally every time the Eye of Agamotto comes up, I'm so happy that we can make the joke again.
But yeah, they're sort of bantering with each other, so it's, it's not revealed as Danny yet, but it is Danny.
Yeah.
And
did you guys ever think it was Danny when they were fighting?
did.
I actually got spoiled. So
I did when we get the You're the One Who Bought Stark Unlimited.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
And
part.
Mastered the Eye. That panel
Yeah,
was like, oh, this is Danny. Because there's not that many people who've got the money to buy Stark
Yeah,
Unlimited.
but it could have been Mark. I don't know. Is he still rich?
No.
Not anymore? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so he doesn't have the buying power.
But we're talking about the future. We don't know. I mean, like the
Yeah, he
moment.
can get his
I mean,
money back.
Stark has nothing at the moment either. Emma Frost is also penniless. All these everyone's penniless in the Marvel universe at the moment.
Except Danny. Okay,
Kingpin.
cool.
Yeah, actually, apart from Danny. So I mean, like the only other people. Yeah. So I mean, it could have been anyone, but the fact that Luke's talking to him, like also the fact that Luke's bantering in battle, kind of made me think. You know,
like they really know each other,
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the pissed Danny look. Got my ears pierced as well. 'Cause I'm a rebel.
It's weird that he calls him the thief of the Iron Fist.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
He's this famous self-made eternal thief of the Iron Fist.
Self-made eternal. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean that word's basically lost all meaning.
Yeah,
I mean, Celestial, like they just throw these on things.
I mean, I'd be happy for him to steal the Iron Fist back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says, you know, you did all that, then you turned the world over to a monster. You let me down. And Danny says something like, oh, you punched me in the heart. The only monster is you. So obviously there's like some unspecified falling out that happened between them or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Which thankfully they don't have to reference because if it's a future event.
Yeah. And
says, the fact that he mentioned punching him in the heart is a callback to their conversation in the diner.
Yes. Yeah. He punched the dragon in the heart, he was telling me.
Yeah. And it also brought back Orson giving Danny his power, as Danny put his hand to his chest.
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's right.
Pei doing the same thing.
That's how you get the power.
Yeah.
Unless you're Fan Fei or whatever her name is.
Yeah. I mean, Luke has never been more right when he says you look like shit.
Oh, he does. He doesn't look great.
He looks dreadful.
He's got like these weird earrings and this weird haircut and mascara.
Mascara.
So...
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a big tremor in the fabric of reality again, and this time it shows us pain, and we see.
But then we get more. Yeah.
That looks like Tombstone. Top
Yeah,
left.
It does look like Tombstone.
Originally, I thought it was like Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this like? Because I didn't know this was like
one.
tied. I'm like, is this political commentary on like a giant Richard Nixon somehow? And like,
everyone bowing down before doom.
The Eye of Agamotto, it looks like, right?
Yeah.
It is the Danger Room. Spider-Man. I don't know, doing Spider-Man-y things. Oh no, that's the one that looks. That's the one that looks like Blood Hunt. That I remember the glory. That's definitely from the upcoming Blood Hunt.
Oh yeah,
because it's Marvel Universe against vampires. So that's that one.
Yeah.
Me didn't realize this was supposed to be tying into current comics, which seems super obvious now. But I literally thought this was all just stuff that happened for this.
I mean, which would be cool, but that's
it's a bit of a bummer.
Oh, that's the Ghost Rider one isn't at the bottom, and there's some Venomy rubbish.
They were so specific that they didn't.
I don't like Venom. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's but they're so specific that it makes sense, and that it like if they were doing it just for this story, they would be less specific and involve Khonshu more, I think.
Yeah, there would be context for them. Yeah.
And I wish there was context, because this story would be better if we had, like, little snippets of what happened. Like, oh, what if that was, like... What if we had a shot of Danny holding the eye?
It's interesting enough concept, but I wanted more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my main gripes, was that it felt so disconnected from anything that I just didn't know. I mean, the visuals were neat, and I was glad Luke and Danny were in it. That was cool, but I didn't know what was going on.
You just wanted
lose impact.
You just wanted something to tie it into something present.
Yeah,
like you don't even see Danny much anymore, and then suddenly he's here, he's front and center, and then Luke being mayor and stuff, and then now he's super powered. Like it doesn't even tie into what's happening with the gang war. So
Which is, we will talk about gang war on a different podcast. I don't think we've got time. We'll wait till gang war's over, and then I think maybe do a gang war thing, because there is Danny presence in that for anyone not following gang war.
I've heard it's not good Danny presence, but
so far, like,
from what someone said, it's like he complains about
better.
not having the Iron Fist, which he gave away, and then gets beat up by something. So it's like,
Wait a second, did I not summarise it for you? I don't think that's what I said. But...
No, this was someone else.
Yeah, let's reserve our regret for that one.
I don't think that's how I phrased it. He did get beaten up, but yeah.
So after the flashback / flash forward, Luke, uses the font of the Marvel characters whose powers he's gotten. So let's have fun. Obviously, Hulk,
Sentry,
and
Iron Fist.
Yep, Iron Fist.
Yeah.
What's the orange?
The first L. Yeah. Okay, so he's got. Yeah, Sentry.
That
Luke
might be
Cage.
Luke.
Would that
Luke,
be
yeah.
right?
That must be
Is
Luke
that?
Cage.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's his font though.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but I can't think of what else.
It's the only one that's different.
Yeah. I love this panel. I thought this was a really cool panel. This might be my favorite panel in the issue.
Yeah.
I didn't like it,
That's good.
but I appreciate that you liked it, and I'm glad you liked it.
I thought it was. I like the hell no and
It's
the
very
crashing.
artistic, yeah.
I don't know if I like the bottom half of Luke's armor in that. It just looks weird to me.
I mean, yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good armor often looks ugly, so
That's fair. That's fair.
they're like pants +5 or something. But they just look janky.
Me and Connor have just been playing Baldur's Gate. He's been watching me play. We're very much on the +5 pants.
Yeah. Khonshu sees all. He sees through it. He's the god of all that walks at night. Then Luke goes, "I don't even think you're in there anymore, Danny." So it's like, I guess Khonshu's like pretending to be Danny. He's like using him as a puppet, because from what we see later,
he's pretty good at like taking over from people. Khonshu, that's kind of one of the things he likes to do.
Because what we see later, it's like I get the impression this isn't Danny talking right now.
Yeah.
But he's kind of pretending to be. I don't know. What did you guys think?
I think, it seems like possession where for a second, maybe
that's right,
through, and then it's just but he also, it was kind of hard to tell, because it also seems like he's dead and Khonshu is just using his body. It was very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, Luke's talking to him like he's actually Danny. So it's possible that there's there's some memories there of what Danny did, because or that's Khonshu trying to get to Luke's head. So you don't know exactly.
Well, that's like a thing with possession in fiction. I mean, not that I'm implying possession is non-fiction, but like like elements of the host's personality can seep through, or the demon or whatever uses the host's personality to mess with their opponent's
head. Yeah.
We even saw Phantom Limb possession shenanigans.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
Yeah. So he's made a pure belief. He's unkillable. He carries the false hope of every human alive. I can't let up even for a moment. Luke, like, they go into space. Luke's full on, flying around and everything. And, Daddy's like, "Ooh, but Khonshu, my moon, ooh," and then he pulls out like a scythe. A sickle, a sickle. And he slices Luke's arm off, which is like a funny panel. Just the Luke's face, like, ugh.
It's kind of weird as well, like, just from the dynamics of it, because the scythe looks like he's about to go upwards.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's already done it when you look at the arm. So it's like, I don't know, I can't work that dynamic out.
I didn't get that impression. I think he sliced with like the curved part, like.
Oh really?
Yeah, he didn't slice with the inside.
Yeah, with
of
the
it,
curved
sliced
part.
with the
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
it.
he did.
I thought you always sliced with the inside. I'm like an idiot.
I would be lying if I said I knew. I've used this.
Yeah, no. It would seem like I do think it's the inside.
Yeah.
In an actual sickle, I think
It's a
that's
sharp
You're right.
one?
Maybe it's the outside. Maybe it's like a side that you do the outside, and it's kind of a cross between the two.
maybe.
Who knows?
It's like,
Anyway,
are you starting to understand, Power Man? Reality itself bends to me. What lies beyond
he
will soon
glows.
bend to him.
I like he had green blood. He had green Hulk blood.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
And
fixing
it's-
itself with nanobites, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just a man floating in space, missing an arm. Ooh, sick burn. Why would you even think about sending it to the moon? It's like, such large-scale stuff, and he's like, ooh, the moon. I'm like, well, the moon's just a rock in space, but I know there's a bunch of magical connotation Khonshu things that I don't know about, so... yeah, and then this is where I sort of rolled my eyes when he went, because I'm a Hulk, and Hulk smash, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to start spouting the catchphrases of all the fallen heroes. But he did smash.
Yeah, and here we get the zombie motif.
Cool
I wanted to be the
obelisks
one that killed you.
and cool rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. But Khonshu, I'm guessing, goes, "Don't worry, Luke. I killed him first," and it shows that Danny's kind of like a husk.
Yeah.
And, you know, the sight of his face, the sound of his voice, it brings fear into my heart. Reality floats to the past, but this time I refuse to be swept away. This time I remember. So he remembers anyway.
Yeah, so we have the new Punisher and the old Punisher, presumably, or War Machine. Yeah, the new Punisher, yeah. So this panel of the young ones is, they
Young
did,
ones.
I'm just trying to so one of them is Spider-Boy, but the other ones they did a series of covers for legacy heroes that hadn't been invented yet. So like people to imagine legacy characters. This is all of them. So that's weird.
Okay. So it's my first time to see Lady Magneto.
Yeah, and then there's a young Iron Man, so they're all from these. No, they're all from these covers, and none of them kind of defined.
There shouldn't be, like, not every character needs to be a legacy character.
Well, and also like these. I mean, it's like doing Spider-Gwen again. It's like doing Gwenpool. It's just like, can we make something that only ever appeared on a cover into a character, which seems like really a backwards way of doing it.
Can we also talk about how dumb the idea of Magneto being a legacy character is? Because Magneto was such a specific person with like he didn't. There's no legacy involved with like him. He's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's not like Iron Fist where it's a title.
And there, he has Polaris, Lorna Dane, who should, take over for him if she ever wants to be Magneto.
She's pretty strong in the new X-Men at the moment, Fall of the House of X.
But not someone, who looks exactly like Magneto, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're just really random, and I don't know if any of them have got stories yet. So, like, that's a worrying panel for me, because I do not want to see a group of them.
Yeah, me too.
I don't really know what the other ones are. I guess Eternals and that was Scarlet Witch and someone.
Yeah, I really
Black Panther.
Really wish these were more relevant to the story.
Yeah.
But at least I guess
that panel just put me off life. I was like, really? We've got to do we're gonna have a new kind of Young Avengers with these
right.
Yeah, so
characters.
it's really just an ad for what they plan to do. So
yeah, these parts. Yeah, it's like DC tried that and it got pretty strong negative reception. Like, because they were actually going to do that with Superman and Batman, and people were like, no, we want Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent. We don't want.
I don't mind if it's an alternate universe, if they've got something interesting, but I think we should know some of the characters first before they become some weird team up. And the fact they were launched on covers just does my head in.
Yeah, I mean,
and also Also, the fact that I feel like we have so many young heroes.
We do.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah,
so
we
many
do.
that people love. You know, like we just
that are really
don't
good.
need this.
Yeah.
Very strange.
So I only know about it from my own absolute dislike of the concept. So
I liked the panels of how they looked into the faces of gods until I now know that that's probably just tying into some comic, because I thought that might have been related to what was going on. But,
I understand. Yeah, no, I get that.
yeah, it's cool how Luke and Danny are fighting through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I
Danny
try
tries
to
use the moon
focus on
fist,
that.
the fist of Khonshu, whatever you call it.
Yes.
And Luke, with his very cleanly cut off arm, does a big punch to Danny. Big uppercut sends him flying, and then he gets knocked down, and Luke keeps punching and punching, and then we see actual Danny wearing the suit that he wore at the start of the issue.
Yeah.
And
the dragon symbol is the opposite way, so I don't know how that
I mean,
oh yeah, it is.
that could just be a mistake.
I'm
either
leaning
a
towards the
mistake or
mistake.
because he became bad. I don't know.
I mean, look, the number of times we've seen them either forget to put it in.
Yeah.
I'm going with mistake.
I'm also going with mistake. I mean,
I
if
would
they
like
didn't,
it more if he'd done a red suit to show he's evil.
It should have been.
Right.
Yeah, I think they would have been more obvious. If they were going for that.
I didn't even notice. Yeah.
It's cool that he has it though. And he has the.
It is cool that he has it. Yeah.
But he still has it even without the Iron Fist, which he should have because it's a scar. It's like a brand.
It's a brand.
Scar.
Yeah.
So we kind of only get the only hints of what really happened from Danny's point of view. Like Danny says, I thought I could master it. I thought I could make the world a better place. You should have killed me, Luke, all those years ago. Could have saved a lot of pain. But I gotta say, I'm glad it wasn't you who did it in the end. So
I wonder if this is a callback to, Danny wanting to make the world a better place back in Heroes for Hire. That's why he wanted to bring Kunlun to Earth. He wanted to create the Heroes for Hire. So
again, I don't.
Always been, like that.
Yeah, I don't give them enough credit to call back anything specific, like bringing back Kunlun, which is what I thought of actually. But it definitely harkens to the very start of the issue where he says he wants to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The
like
hand clasp again.
Yeah, that's the impression I got, was like he got all this stuff, tried to make the world a better place, got in over his head and got like controlled by Khonshu is the impression I got.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like I would have thought he was stronger than Mark, and Mark was always able to, so
able to what?
To withstand Khonshu taking over him.
To master,
maybe Khonshu got more powerful.
That's possible.
Because if he's controlling the Eye of Agamotto,
Mark does have the advantage of DID, which makes it a bit harder for Khonshu, because he a lot of the time just didn't believe in Khonshu. So.
And like if he's mastered the Eye of Agamotto as well, and like I think it's like that he said that like it's a god, like god should not be like a lesser term. Like God should a god should always be above, much above mortal ken, whether you have the Iron Fist or not. Although I guess Danny did kill a god in Living Weapon, but hey. So what I'm trying to say is I don't mind it because it's a god. That being said, I don't know much about Khonshu, and I'm assuming Khonshu got more powerful because Khonshu has taken over everything. So
that seems likely, yeah.
Yeah,
it could be Khonshu was the one who gave Danny the Eye of Agamotto. So that might have been his the way that he got to Danny too, through the Eye of Agamotto.
It's also super vague as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all we know, like Danny eventually got I don't know. But it would be cool to know more. But we get a little bit of body horror here as
Khonshu
this was
Khonshu makes it clear that Danny's gone. He's just a husk. his bones are mine to bend, his will mine to sacrifice, and like we get like alien. It comes out of his mouth. It's like, I thought this was pretty gnarly. I liked it.
Yeah. Cool.
Danny's like this bag of skin that just falls on the ground.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have Khonshu with his little dumb skull thing.
Hey, we love him. Bird face.
No offense intended. I just think it's goofy. And I've seen it like a lot lately.
It was very funny though. Like somebody was like, when this came out, somebody was like, "Have you read this?" Because like the only other thing they could have done was put Iron Man in front and center, and it would have been like your issue.
Priests of my path begin the cull. The glorious final sacrifice. Mark Spector built a faith from madness. Daniel Rand built an engine from technology and magic, but neither were capable of being anything more than paladins.
Ooh, I like the idea of them as paladins.
Congratulations, Carl Lucas. God has noticed you, and he has found you worthy. You'll be the last of your people. The unconsumed to witness my feast, by Herald. I thought that was pretty cool. And it says
that's a really nice page, actually.
Mark Spector built a faith from madness. Is that acknowledging something specific, or?
That's just that Mark is
in general
DID and is one of the faithful. So
right. Well, it says he built a faith, so I was wondering.
Well, not that we really know about. I mean, I guess people in the current run, they're very much the Midnight Mission, and people are coming for help. So I guess that could be faith in.
The way I read it is that he, because obviously with no knowledge, like, is that he contributed to the early stages of this, or like.
Potentially, but this would be like something we haven't seen.
Right, yeah. And I'm wondering if Daniel Rand built an engine from technology and magic. I guess that was the big sacrifice machine. For a second I thought it was referencing the Kunlun portal, but he didn't build that, so... and Luke looks sad, and his eyes are glowing blue. And there's really cool artwork here. And he starts throwing around Luke Cage. There's nothing left to say. It's only me and I become Celestial. Again, that's kind of meaningless to me. It's like, aren't the Celestials kind of mooks anyway? I guess they're not mooks, but they're like... I've seen it so much that it doesn't have the effect on me that I think it should have.
I agree.
Because, like, if you're already a god, like, there shouldn't really be things above that, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a celestial god.
Yeah, because the Celestials are... I've read Celestials in a few stories, and they're like these giant sort of
cosmic beings.
Yeah, who can just like annihilate all the planets in their path and stuff, and they're like very apocalyptic. So I guess he's one now. Because when you think about Marvel gods, I guess they aren't really that strong. A lot of Marvel gods, but you know, if Captain America can punch them. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, Luke, we get a bit of a flashback to him eating food with Danny, and some cool sort of inner dialogue about how everything that has existed or ever will is food for a final god. And Luke's like, I'm the only thing left with nothing left in the tank. Maybe something. And he wraps the chain around his hand, and then he lights up his iron fist.
This was cool. Even just symbolically, that was really cool. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Great artwork. But, you know, I would think by now, if he had Hulk's blood in his veins, that, you know, his arm would heal somewhat.
Well, they should it,
like,
they
you know, grow.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
Let's not think about it too much.
Isn't?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that's something that they allowed Hulk to be able to do.
It's a bit weird that it didn't grow back. Yeah. Maybe because it was cut off, and maybe what I mistook for nanobites was like the magic from the sickle. So maybe like the sickle prevented it from
could have been the one
regrowing.
that kept it from growing. Okay.
I would justify it as being some kind of Khonshu meddling
shenanigan.
Yeah.
But it is really cool that Luke uses the Iron Fist with his own chains and punches through the heart of Khonshu, and looks like it kills him. There's like a huge shockwave. It rips at the atoms of his being, and we see like Shulu, the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, basically, really awesome page. Luke's won. You know, he says it'll be a hard road for the future, but humans have survived. They'll be together. The Earth is saved. And
I like this little name drop of Jessica. He says, Jessica, I think I did it.
Yeah.
Which is nice to acknowledge her as well.
Yeah. And he steers into the current of time, and we get more flashes.
Yeah, this is the one I don't like.
Because Captain America's fighting Iron Man. Because we have the upcoming Civil War 3.
Again.
Stephen and Clea with a baby. The monster dudes. Someone fighting USA. That awful kaiju that came up in one Al Ewing comic.
Then he kind of like...
Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah, and also Iron Man at the bottom having something weird procedure happening. So
and more Magneto things.
More Magneto and the X-Men.
X-Men.
Yeah.
He sort of like falls and shatters.
Yeah.
And then does he appear back in time? Like he falls
into
the
I think
sun?
So.
And then there's like a boom.
Yeah.
And we go to today. That was how it ended. Boom, ping. And then we have Anthony Mackie and Robert Downey Jr. and they're...
Back to the Avengers is what we're saying, because Sam is Captain America at the moment.
Oh, signs of some debris near Jupiter. No, false alarm. Looks like it burned out near Jupiter. Another win for the good guys. And then we have Luke's skeleton in space. And this is how it begins.
There's his Hulk. That's Hulk regeneration, isn't it? With the green veins.
Looks like it, yeah.
It's like, and then it goes end. I'm like, the end? But future Luke Cage is floating through space. Is that the end? So
he'll be fine. Don't worry about him.
It's telling you what it was advertising at the back.
It was a weird ending.
It is.
Like Luke time traveling was a weird ending. I don't know if that'll come up.
Yeah.
Is Luke going to be like Kingdom Come Superman or something?
I don't know. Probably never come back up again.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought it was cool. I thought it was like messy because of all the times and stuff, but it was cool to see a what if end of world thing with Luke and Danny, and I enjoyed it for that. And I will probably get the issue physically because it will be neat to have, and I can just ignore all the stupid flashback stuff, which I wish I didn't know was meaningless promotion.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. No, you're right to tell me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, for me, it doesn't feel like it's a bad portrayal of Danny, even though he went evil, so which is good. I like the fact that you have two friends who seem like they had a falling out sometime in the past, and it's just a good story that shows you what could have been, and it's just good to see Danny at the end looking like he really didn't want any of these things to happen. So it would have been, I wouldn't have liked it if Danny went all evil completely on Luke. It just feels better that at the end it wasn't Danny after all who was in control. So that gave me I felt relieved just seeing that last few panels with Danny there. So for me, I just like the fact that I see Danny again, and they might do something with him in the coming months. I don't know what it's going to be, but I really hope it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciated this issue. We don't often get issues, as we kind of mentioned before, we don't often get issues like this that are kind of big and cosmic and just kind of random Marvel Universe-wide things that focus on and Luke and Danny. I miss them terribly, and I'm always happy to have them in anything. I'm a sucker for any issue where their friendship is at the core of the issue. Yeah, it feels like a very random issue. It feels like a chunk of a larger story, and it would be nice to have more context. But it was a fun read. It's really cool. The art is really nice. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, also, I'd just like to add, I thought it was cool that Marvel thought highly enough of Danny that he's at the center here, and their friendship is also at the center of what's happening, what's going to be happening in the future. So because there's a lot of cool duos, both in DC and Marvel. And I think their friendship and their partnership is one of the strongest.
Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one of the most important duos in comics.
Yeah. Definitely.
If I had to guess, I would say it's probably because they both have their 50ths right next to each other. They didn't really advertise it like that, but like I feel like that might have been the thinking of, because otherwise it's kind of random, right? Like putting these two together, unless they're really planning to use these two this year. Is I think, they both had a 50th. Let's have Timeless this year be about them. But I don't know that. Obviously, that's just speculation.
Yeah, it also feels like it's them trying to make up for the lack of Luke Cage from the year before.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I would hope so. Yeah.
But I don't think you can announce a Howard the Duck one and not have done Luke Cage and make up for that.
Yeah.
True.
I just don't. I mean, like, it's not even that I'm bitter. I mean, I'm always surprised when they do anything for anything, but like to just, I don't think you can make up for it. I think they probably asked the guys, who do you want to use? These guys aren't, like Danny's not being used for anything. I agree. It is really nice to characters do something cosmic, and because of their partnership and their friendship, it makes any struggle. But I would much rather see them fight than see another Tony Steve one. Because I think you get different resolutions when everyone agrees they're very, very good friends.
Yeah.
Like, people will argue about Steve and Tony, but like everyone will agree that Danny and Luke are very. I mean, the fact that Danny's in Gang War is sort of testament to that. But I don't think anything makes up for not recognizing one of the only huge black heroes in the Marvel world.
That was always really bizarre.
Yeah,
I think Marvel really want that for marketing. They're like, hey, we have like,
even the Marvel voices, they did like Wakanda instead of like anything around Luke Cage. It's just like,
it's just nonsensical. I cannot fathom what the thinking was.
So I'm not giving them a pass for using him in this. I think
we
this
all know
it's
because Black Panther has movies coming out.
Yeah.
Luke Cage doesn't have a TV show anymore.
Yeah,
that's just what it comes down to. Like Marvel is particularly notorious
Iron Fist
for that.
Doesn't have anything coming out, so the fact they're doing something for his 50th, I mean, it's great, love it, but it's just another weird. Okay, like
maybe some crazy Iron Fist fans have been sending death threats or something. Who knows?
Well, I mean, we all know, we all know he likes pretending to be Asian, so he's big into white men being Asian.
So I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a nice thing for both characters. I don't take it like hugely seriously because it's like just a nice little Elseworld. And it's a good showcase of their friendship. Like you said, like when Luke Cage and Danny fight, it's never really out of ideology. It's more just like, someone's mind controlled or possessed.
Right. And the emphasis is always on the fact that they do love each other.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the fight.
Yeah,
so
I enjoy every time they come up against each other because it's always interesting.
Yeah. And does anyone have anything else to add about this before we move on real quick?
Do more, Marvel. More of these.
All right. So just real quick, we'll be there'll be as Omar did an interview with CB Sapolsky, and I put a link to it in the discussion thread, so you can have a read of it. We will be getting what looks like an issue for Iron Fist's 50th anniversary. Sounds pretty cool, and he mentioned not only he mentioned Danny Rand specifically as well as Iron Fist also. So we'll see what happens. We'll definitely cover it on the show. Go check out that interview Omar did. I'm obviously, I just want good Danny Rand stories, whether he has the Iron Fist or not. I would just like good Danny Rand stories where he isn't a buffoon and he's, grown as a character and has some cool adventures.
I really, go ahead, Emma.
I was just say thank you so much for doing that interview. That was really cool to read. And I was fully
You're welcome.
Prepared.
I mean, I would find it very hard to be polite to Sapolsky, but yeah, it was
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was surprising good news. I was fully prepared for not only Danny but also obviously Colleen and Misty. This is also their 50th anniversary. I was fully prepared to get nothing after what happened with Luke.
Me too.
So that was a big treat.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel angry about Luke, but happy for Danny. But I'm also mad about Lindley. So,
It increases the mystery of... Well, at least Lindley wasn't mentioned, but I did sense his presence.
He was. It was kind of, we're going to keep him as... We're going to keep... It sounded very much like he's staying as Iron Fist.
Well, because his series did so well. Yeah. And we all loved it. Oh, wait, no, it's the opposite. We all hated it.
Like it.
But you know what I liked about CV here was he was the one who volunteered the information before I even asked him. It was so cool. It came out so naturally that and he even mentioned that it was an exclusive that it's never been released by Marvel. So I was just hoping that before I published this one that Marvel wouldn't come up with a marketing that showed everything that I had in the interview. Yeah. So I had to, I was praying it won't happen, and it didn't. So I'm just glad that they're doing this one shot. And as he was talking about it, my head was just, spinning, thinking about all of the possibilities, because he mentioned even the immortal weapons.
Right. They wouldn't keep it as just Danny.
Yeah, and Xiao Lao, and you've got him talking about creators in the past to have a hand in this. So it looks like it's still in the early stages.
Yeah, it's definitely not coming out to correspond with the 50th.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that.
Me too. I think that's weird as well.
It seemed like they were just kind of putting it together now.
Yeah, we just remembered it, so we'll put it together.
Right, it felt very like, oh god, we gotta do something.
Don't worry.
Omar was asking me.
We've got till like December 24th.
Yeah, it's like he was intimidated by me, right?
Right. Well, I think maybe the year turns and they're like, who's having anniversaries this year?
Right.
Yeah, but I'd love to see if they could get Roy Thomas back in. Ed Brubaker. I was thinking of all the possibilities of seeing them doing something. Yeah, Ed Brisson, Mike Perkins coming back, and even Carrie Andrews. I love his art. You've got Dan Jurgens, who was also a creator there. Joe Duffy. I don't know if you can get her.
I was gonna say,
Dan Jurgens. Right. I would love to see Clay Chapman do a little story as well.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Oh, follow up to his Phantom Limb, right?
Yeah, or even just a little creepy one off. I don't know. Something would be nice.
Because it's going to be.
You know who we don't need back? Larry Hama.
Yeah, stay away, Larry. We don't want you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Larry, but you better stick to...
I'm not sorry. You should have. You
better stick to drawing than writing.
Yeah.
So I think it was editorial mandate, but it was still badly done. Editorial mandate.
Yeah.
It was like, if it was editorial mandate, it still could have been way better and not with so much disrespect. But we've talked about Heart of the Dragon before, so go check out our episode on that and the episodes afterwards. because we never stopped talking about it.
Every episode since. Yeah.
Yeah. We do have some feedback from Dennis Domingo, and he says, "This was a great read. Wasn't a big Iron Fist fan myself growing up. Only really learned about him when I got a Toy Biz Iron Fist almost 20 years ago. It was the seed of my current collection. But since then, I've come to appreciate both him and Power Man. Given that their cast of characters started back in the days of Hong Kong wuxia and blaxploitation films, I've always wondered what they'd both be like today. For instance, there was that movement pushing for an Asian Iron Fist when Netflix was making their show. As an Asian American, I'm all for representation in media, but I always felt that it would have been like a bad move to go that route, given the origins of the character. An Asian in that origin story just didn't feel right, as I don't think that they would have had the same reactions and motivations Danny had due to differences in standing, culture, society, etc. I'm not sure changing the origin to suit Asian culture would have worked either. I just can't imagine what an Iron Fist from China or Tibet might have looked like given all the cultural differences with America." They have... Yeah, we've talked about this before.
We Asians, okay, let me just chime in for a bit.
Yeah.
We Asians aren't really looking for an Asian Iron Fist. I've talked to more than a few of my friends, of course, Filipinos, even some Asians and Asian Americans that I've read posts about from different chat groups and stuff. They're not really looking for an Asian Iron Fist, and that's unusual because probably they think, we already have Shang-Chi. We don't need Iron Fist to be Asian as well.
And the cat. I guess the cat's not like a hero, but I've talked about, I'm not going to say I have Chinese friends, but I have talked with some interesting people on Twitter. A Chinese lady, and she had an interesting, instead of cultural appropriation, she looked at it as like a compliment, that our culture and mythology is so popular all over the world, and I think that's like a really healthy approach in general. It's different if you're, adapting Journey to the West, but everyone's a white guy. Right, that's not good. But there's difference. And, we've talked about it a lot. I think it really comes down to, actual Iron Fist fans aren't interested in it, So you're appealing to people who aren't Iron Fist fans to begin with. And Keith Chow, the guy who started this whole movement, I quote, "Honestly, Iron Fist was never my fave, but with all the shows coming, it was the best opportunity for an Asian lead." That was his motivation. That's from his mouth. So that says it all. Very glad for the feedback. So I will be away for a few weeks. Not that I haven't, this podcast, this is 2 months since the last episode or something. So, hopefully a bit more consistent this year now that we have a time we can work with more consistently. And I enjoy this issue. It was good to have a new issue to talk about that wasn't awful or just wasn't disappointing. So, despite the circumstances of the issue, weirdly it felt a little bit like a celebration of these two characters to me.
Absolutely. I think so.
Yeah. And I love that one panel where it's an homage to Power Man and Iron Fist number 50.
Yes, I like that.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and Khonshu was
this
there.
was a nice surprise. And Khonshu was
there. Which is always good.
All for the Moon Knight fans out there, always waiting. So until next time, may your fists become unto a thing of iron, and we should be back with one of the various things we're covering, whether it be Heroes for Hire or Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. Probably a month, I'd say a month at least until the next episode, but hopefully you guys can hold on till then. If there's any big news or urgent news, we will get an episode out before then. It just might not have all of us on it. So, and
take care.
Everyone, shill your stuff real quick if you want, and then I'll sign off.
Bye.
Go on.
Promote your stuff.
I'll promote the DCAU podcast because we are getting into the last year of it. So watch me get very tired about DC films. animated films.
I'll be doing a lot of posts. Like I said, from I Am Iron Fisting, I'm doing that countdown. So trying to come up with lots of interesting things for people to read about as a celebration of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want,
and I post...
sorry Emma, I just totally cut you off.
No, you're fine.
If you want consistent Iron Fist content, look not to Marvel, look to Omar and his I Am Iron Fist blog.
Yes. Thank you, Omar. I really enjoyed your post.
Thank you.
Sorry, Emma, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So I post about Iron Fist and Iron Fist related things on Tumblr at bookoftheironfist.tumblr.com. And I also post stuff about Daredevil, daresplaining.tumblr.com.
Cool.
Right.
All right. I may be watching the Daredevil Director's Cut again soon.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's good.
Good times.
Anyway, until next time, don't listen to the crazy moon god, man. And
I mean, okay, no, don't. He's bad.
Peace.
Bye.
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 Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. It doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon, our Twitter, at Iron Fist Podcast, our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are, our YouTube, Connor Carl, just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section, and last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikorsky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.